Will you beat the Lions next year, do you think?
Ask me that after our last game, Brad. I'll fill you in. I'm sure I'll fill you in.
Well, just a couple of the major talking points of the Brisbane Lions and the AFL Footy's year to date. The man making the declaration that his good friend Jason Ackermanis was out of the side is the captain of the Brisbane Lions, Michael Voss, and he joins us in the studio. Welcome to you, Michael.
Jared, how you doing?
Pretty well. We had the opener there, and clearly that must have been one of the toughest moments of your distinguished AFL career.
Certainly was, because you fill two roles there. It's difficult to be a friend of somebody and then be a captain at the same time and then tell someone they're omitted from the side. So that's not much fun, but that's the downside of being a captain, I guess.
Since that time, Michael, it would appear as if things have got back to some normality between the Lions, yourself and Acker, and life seems to have been going along pretty well. I guess up until the eventuation of the email on the weekend.
Yeah, well, they're all things you don't want to happen, of course, but yeah, it's been a pretty difficult period. We started the season pretty slowly, so there's a fair bit of focus comes in on us as a team, and in particularly what's been going on with Jason and the team. So that's not something that you want around your club and surrounding your club, and you know, we just have to be able to move forward from it.
Michael, do you expect Acker to be playing with the Lions next year?
Geez, guys, I thought you'd give me a couple of warm-up questions before you started hammering me with all these, but look, I'd like to think so. He's contracted. I haven't heard anyone from the club say so otherwise. Other than Jason speaking about it on Thursday, I haven't thought that it'd be anything else. So I don't expect anything else. I know it's been spoken about in the media, but as far as I know, the Herald Sun isn't on our match committee at the moment, Mike. So from our point of view, I would be very surprised if that's even been discussed.
OK, let's return to team matters. You had obviously a bad virus last week. Should you have played or should you not have?
Hindsight's always beautiful, Mike, but probably not. But at the same time, I thought we lacked a lot of senior players out there, and we had Mel go down, and then Josh Drummond, obviously with his thigh. So I guess there's that little bit of extra pressure to get out there. But as far as I was concerned, once you cross the white line, you're fit and healthy, and you've got to be able to play at your best because you're not going to get any sympathy from the opposition.
Michael, will you play yourself next year? And after that, your focus, coaching or being in the media?
Well, once again, I'm contracted till 2007, but as the same as I've done the last couple of years, I'll sit back and I'll assess how my body is, how I'm feeling, all those sort of things. I've had to take that year by year ever since I've had troubles with my knee. That's just a fact of life. I'm contracted, of course, and right at the moment I feel that I will, but, you know, 10 weeks in a football season is a very long period of time, so a lot can happen in that period of time. And as far as what I do beyond that, well, I'd like to sort of spend a couple of years where I'm in an unbiased position and be able to just watch football, where hopefully that's in the media. I do a little bit of Channel 9 work up here right now, and then maybe coaching. Beyond that, I don't know.
What about your good friend Nigel Lappin? How's he going? Injured last year, injured early this year. We haven't seen him on the ground. Any chance that he'll play?
There is a chance that he'll play this year. I think that he'll probably get in the last 4 games of the year. We're anticipating that he could hopefully get back by about round 15, but that doesn't look to be the case. I think he's a little bit away from where he'd hoped to be at this stage. We'd like to get a few games into him, and, you know, it'd be fantastic buzz to be able to get someone like Nige back. We've missed him immensely this year, just with his run and depth that he gives us. You know, it's just tremendous value for us. And losing then Hads at the same time. So it puts pressure on your midfield depth, no doubt. But I'd love to see him out there. He'll certainly be running around next year, and he'll be as fit as ever.
When you've played at the level you have for so long, how frustrating is it to be in a season like this is, with the team not going so well, with you not having the same penetration in your kicking and perhaps not the same zest in your running that you used to have? Is it difficult to adjust to that?
It's pretty good question. I mean, from my point of view, I guess that's an acceptance factor from me, but I believe that within the team the role that I feel within the team, I think can still be very valuable. And, you know, we've got different objectives and different needs that we have to meet this year. We've had an awesome amount of injuries. Like, I can't remember my time at this club when we've had such a bad run like we have this year. But, you know, as Port have shown, they can be exceptionally competitive with a lot of young kids in the side. And we've shown that over the last month, and we have to be able to continue to show that. So that, you know, it's a different sort of feel, if you want to call it that. But I don't expect to reach the levels like I used to be able to, Mike. A lot of people talk about it and that I haven't been able to reach those levels. I'm not expecting to. I don't have that unrealistic expectation on me, but I do think that I can still do something valuable.
Vossy, how far around the recovery curve are you rejuvenating the side? Because it would appear as if you're further around than your last month's results indicate. You've played some pretty good sides and come up with losses, but your form has been probably far better than that.
Well, we've played 3 of the top 4 sides, haven't we? So in the last month, and we've proven that we're not quite up to that standard. We're pretty disappointing against the Bulldogs on the weekend. You know, they've got their own injury problems, but they were fantastic in the way that they played, and we were poor. But the previous 2 weeks we were very competitive but not quite good enough, and that's probably where we are right now. We've got a lot of things to be able to work on, and hopefully over the next 10-week period, regardless of where we finish, we've got a lot of things to work on. And
Michael, do you see a change of approach from the coach dealing with younger players?
In what way, Wolsey?
More of a teaching aspect than going out.
Well, that's on. So that's ongoing, I believe. We're forever trying to do that, but with every downside, there's an upside. And if we want to marry it up with what Collingwood experienced last year, where they just got a lot of games and a lot of players, and they're seeing a lot of benefits from that, from guys like Dane Swan and those sort of guys who have really stepped up another level. And already from the start of the season, we've seen, you know, guys like Matthew Moody and Jared Brennan starting to play some really consistent football now. Michael Riccitelli, who's, you know, stepped up another gear. So, you know, the more games that these guys get under the belt, the more comfortable they're going to be out in the AFL field. And next year, hopefully, when we get that experience back, they can complement that group.
Michael, we've got some vision of one particular youngster in Brisbane, and it's amazing how quickly youngsters can develop. If you just have a look.
Just 70 kilos there.
Yeah, just to take you back a few years, you were, well, you had a good frame, but clearly you put some muscle on over the years.
Yeah, about 20 kilos worth. God, it feels like a long way since then, that's for sure. There's been a fair bit happened, but I mean, from that age when I started, all year after is just to be able to get a game, and to do what I've been able to do, I just would have never have dreamt it. And I've ridden the ups and downs, there's no doubt about that, but I'd take the ride every time.
Vossy, we've seen you kick goals from when you started in your career until now. Would you like you have any appeal to the way that Adelaide are using Rashido and Collingwood are using Buckley? And in fact, Lee Matthews himself finished his career in front of goals. Do you think that's in front of you?
Everyone keeps talking about it, but I think at the moment where we're lacking as a team is that we're... you know, we just don't have that midfield depth right now as what we did due to some injuries that we've had. So right at the moment, that's where I'm needed. Whether that's where you go long term, who knows? I haven't made that transition there yet. I don't know whether Lee sees me moving into that role or not. But I guess then I can muscle up a bit more, can't I? Get on the weights and weigh a few kilos and run as far as what Lynchy did in the last 4 years of his career.
What, you say not too far? What about
Not too far.
What about the new kick-in rule where the ball comes in so quickly? Lee Matthews is saying that he thinks that should go back to what it used to be. Watching it, it just seems like the ball's in motion and swings from one end of the ground to the other faster than ever before. How do you feel being out there?
Oh, it's quicker. There's no doubt it's quicker. When the ball goes in through the point post, you've got to find your man pretty quick because you can pretty much guarantee he's going to be heading out the other side. But that's, you know, and I think that that's created more of an uncontested style of football because there's more loose players running around and there's a great deal more emphasis of maintaining possession. I don't like comparing it to basketball, but, you know, maintaining that possession till you sort of get up to the other end of the court, if you like to call that, which is the 50 metres at the moment, and the ball gets turned over and then off they go again. So it definitely is a game at the moment where you maintain possession right through the midfield, and then, you know, hopefully you can hold the ball in the forward 50, but more often than not, she's bouncing out.
Vossy, you've got a player that everyone admires and loves watching in Jonathan Brown playing in your team. He's injured again. He's 24, and in only one of his 7 seasons has he played 20 games. Have you got any fears for his long-term future as a league footballer?
Yeah, we often have a bit of a joke about it. He said that he wants to play till he's 35, and I've got a fair bet on that he won't. But I mean, you know, look, he's a tremendous player. You know, his presence on the field, it's only going to get greater. Like what you said, he's only 24. I guess what he's got to be able to do is, you know, maintain his body. He's got to learn how to train different ways and just look after it a bit better. He's just a workhorse. He could play in the midfield if he wanted to because he's that fit. And that's why he gives probably defenders a bit of curry, because he gets on his bike also. But, yeah, look, I mean, he's fulfilling potential. I hope over the next 4 or 5 years we'll widely regard Jonathan Brown as the #1 player in the game. Probably some do already, but he needs to be able to get that consistency in his game of just being able to play week after week after week.
Michael, we saw a vision of you back in 1992 playing for the Brisbane Bears at Carrara in the old Brisbane Bears jumper. Have you still got the jumper, and have you kept the jumpers through the premiership years and the boots and so on?
I don't have my first jumper, unfortunately. It's one of the things that is missing from my collection, if you want to call it that. But, yeah, generally I keep most things. I don't have anything hanging up at home, but I've got all the jumpers, you know, all the things you accumulate along the way. I've been able to get those. I doubt whether too many will find their way up on the wall, but they're just nice things to be able to keep, and who knows what your kids want to do further down the track, but I've got most of those, yeah.
Vossy, you and Nathan Brown have had the 2 worst broken legs I've seen in football. Correct me if I'm wrong, but my memory was that you actually played with the rod in your leg and had a great season. Is that right?
Yeah, I did, but I had ongoing problems throughout the year. I had a fair bit of pain after the games, and you know, you wouldn't train much during the week, and then you'd sort of come up for the week after. It wasn't really an ideal way to be able to prepare, but I think when, I don't know what Nathan's going to do, but he'll see a massive difference once he gets that rod out of his leg at the end of the year. I felt like I needed that comfort to be able to have it in there to know that I wasn't going to break it again. But as a result, you're going to get some pain off that. And I'd be very surprised if Nathan gets through the whole year, even from having 5 or 6 weeks off, where he doesn't feel a little bit more pain. It's just something he's going to have to put up with for the rest of the year, I think.
Michael, we do have to wrap it up. We appreciate you going into our Brisbane studios. You're looking pretty fresh. We hope that outside of Dr. Williams and Dr. Sheehan writing you off again, that there's still plenty of footy left.
So do I, but you can keep writing them, boys, so I'll just keep going.
Thanks, Vossy.
Good on you, Vossy.
Good on you, Michael. Michael Voss, the Brisbane Lions captain, joining us in our Brisbane studios. We've got a bit more to go, so stay with us here on the couch.